Well, these guys usually don't work, so that's a nice surprise. Oh, there goes his arm.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Seattle, Washington, and Puget Sound with the Cascade Mountains in the background. You're looking out over Puget Sound with me. I am at a high bank water view house in Manchester, Washington. Across the water, it's one of the ferry destinations, and it is the place where my client, whose folks' house is being sold after about a 50-year accumulation, wants me to come and take anything left that I think I can sell. So we're picking today and being introduced to some strange new friends. It's always a challenge when you're going to pack up a bunch of stuff in a house that you've seen exactly once to try to match the number of boxes with the amount of stuff, but I think I've got a good handle on that. We're going to go in here. Now, the folks had some other appointments with getting prepared for the house to be listed today, so I am here alone right now. We've gone through and they've shown me what's to be taken and what isn't. I'm taking this cluster of furniture and the lamps there. The furniture pieces are nice. They're mahogany 1940s era. Coffee tables really are not selling like they used to, though, because a lot of people are getting tables built into sofas. And the little lamp table is cute, but honestly, I don't think either of those will fetch over $50 these days. But the lamps are dated 1962 and very modern, and they will sell for good money. Now, these folks came here because of Air Force duty, but most people come because of the Navy. That's why we see a lot of cloisonné and other Japanese items, because a lot of people were stationed there before they came here. These are mid-20th century pieces, but this one is interesting because this is what they call wireless cloisonné. And we'll show you how that compares. If you notice, there's wires around the dogwoods and the little individual pieces, but there are not a lot of little wires in the body of the piece. These, if you can see there's a little mark that says Sato, Japan. It does not say $9.50 or $9.99. If it did, that would be Japanese fine silver, and there are collectors who want just sterling silver pieces and fine silver pieces from Japan. Now compare here, see all the little squiggles in the light green on the right? Those are the wires used to hold in the enameling. The one on the left doesn't have them in the background. That's why it's called wireless. The clock here is an anniversary clock from Germany, and they're very nice and pretty, and you really have to make sure they're sitting level or they won't work. That's a Weller piece, and this one at the ivy is Royal Copley. And then this is a 1930s Japanese dragonware teapot. Behind, I had to grab the fossil because, gee, the fossil is, well, very, very old. And then next to it is a piece of Hull pottery from the pre-1950 pastel days. And then they did have some nice dinnerware. I usually don't take a lot of dinnerware, but this Wedgwood pattern in the black is very attractive. And the Spode patterns are cowslip with the multicolor and Billingsley rose with the yellow. And those have enough adherence that they are worth grabbing. These little egg coddlers by Royal Worcester, for some reason people are just fascinated with them. I've never seen anyone use one, but everybody loves to buy them, so I'll take that for these folks and sell it. Now here is a plate. Look how simple it is, just some little columbines and somebody's monogram, and you think, oh, we don't want monograms. Well, you want this monogram. Because on the back it says, this is from the Presidential Plane, and this is Columbine from Shenango, China, 1956. DDE is Dwight David Eisenhower. This is his dinner plate from the equivalent of Air Force One back in 1956. He was flying on something older, but isn't that amazing? This guy was in the Air Force, and he somehow got it in his travels. I think that's going to prove to be rather valuable. It'll be fun to find out. Now, a friend of mine's dad worked for Libby Glass, and he perfected the formula for making this thin gold leaf adhere to the glass without having to use real gold. So suddenly gold decoration was available to a lot of people who couldn't afford it before. Those are from the 1960s, and that gold leaf is very popular with barware collectors. Ooh, now here's something for all of you to know about. There were a few companies that made this. I think this one with the little bluer cast to it rather than the more green cast is Louisville Stoneware's Country Fair, but Red Wing also made it as Village Green. And then this house is fun because they were in the Air Force. They were stationed in South Africa. This is Swazi. There's Zulu stuff. There's some really great masks. There's some paintings. There's a skin drum. There's some cool stuff downstairs that we're going to see that is definitely cultural wander into someplace else that just is really neat to have in stores, and it shows it's very attention getting. And then here on the other side of the spectrum are these cute 1930s hand-painted Japanese rangeware shakers just to be used on the stove. Very basic. They were probably sold at the 5 and dime, but aren't they cute? And more square dishes. I do love square dishes. I have to admit, I'm a sucker for these every time I see them. And you see the difference again there with the buttercup, all yellow as opposed to the cowslip, which has the different colors. I have to admit, most of what I've learned about flowers, I have learned by looking at patterns of English china and American pottery. Now this is neat. This is also South African, the crocodile, and that's a nice hard ebony wood that's carved, so a little harder to carve. And then these are part of the Vernon Kiln souvenir plates of the 40s and 50s, and this one's a little more desirable because this is the Capitol building in Honolulu, the old Capitol before statehood. So this is a territorial era, probably 1950s Vernon Kiln's plate. And because it's Hawaiian, it will sell for about double what the run-of-the-mill ones like this one from St. Augustine in Florida would sell for. Vernon Kiln's plates were done by a number of different artists. I met Orpha Klinker, who was still alive when I was starting in the business. She was one of the decorators, and she only bought the ones that had her little initials hidden in the transferware, and she knew where to look. Now, I am to try to get anything of value out of this house, so even though I'm not a huge fan of the brass trays, I know they'll sell for something, but I really like these candlestick holders. These could be hung on a wall. They can be used as easels. They fold flat. They fold out. They can stand free. It's just a very clever design from the early 70s, probably from Hallmark or some basic store back then. And these are little favor vases, just for a little nosegay or some flower. But these are marked Occupied Japan on the bottom, so we know that these were made between 1947 and 1952 only. There's the mark for you there. Here's some of these die-cast planes from the 1990s, the Campbell Soup and the Texaco. Now, the very first Texaco plane tends to be rather expensive. They didn't realize how popular these were going to be when they started making them. Well, once they figured it out, then they made a whole lot of most of the rest of them. But this is Ertl, made in USA. That's what people are looking for. So this is one of the earlier ones, and we will take this and sell it for the client. The one attached to it, however, is Chinese and brand new. This weird, funky metal music box from the 70s, yeah, why not? It's a plane, it's 70s, people are liking this metal work. I think these are starting to be collected again. So we'll see what that goes for. And then next to it here, I have got a big pile of silver and silver plate. These candelabra are quite nice. I also see a butter chiller and a good hotelware teapot. The things that are coming out of drawers are just as random as they can be, and I am doing this in an absolute random matter, going room to room. I'm not doing this in some order by category, so you're seeing it the way I'm finding it. This is also Ertl. This was in the back of the china cabinet. I'm not sure why, but it is American made. It's one of the old vintage gasoline engines, and there are people who collect these. There's people who collect the real ones and restore them, so there's definitely an interest in the die-cast versions as models as well. So this is probably a $25 to $30 item, and I will take this and try to sell it in the Midwest for them. Here's a little better look at that hotelware. I say hotelware because if you pick this up, it's very heavy compared to something you'd use at home. So something that was meant to either be bashed around a lot or to hopefully not be bashed around because it was heavy and wouldn't be knocked over. Here's a bunch of silver. This is all sterling except for the tray, and that's an interesting thing to look for. All of the beverage pieces are marked sterling, and the tray is marked alpaca, which is a look-alike made with nickel and other things, and so it is not sterling. And you want to be careful about that with beverage sets. Sometimes the big heavy piece is not silver. All these pieces are silver, though. The tall candlesticks are nice, the low candlesticks, the dresser sets. I've got brushes and combs, and I suspect that this will do very well. I have a show coming up in the Midwest next week, so I intend to take all of these things and sell it for this family there. Usually silver doesn't last more than a show or two for me because I have a lot of people who are looking for it. It's highly collectible right now. People are looking for it for intrinsic value, but a lot of people are also looking to put it aside for future generations. This family also, in addition to all these dresser and table pieces, has a couple of sets of flatware, and I have a guy who is looking for nice flatware services for his 11-year-old granddaughter when she grows up. Well, these guys usually don't work, so that's a nice surprise. Oh, there goes his arm. This plate here is really cool because it is Buffalo Bill Cody, who was one of the last big tourers of the Western showman. But it's by, again, Spode, China. I am so surprised to see an English company doing a souvenir plate for an American icon like Buffalo Bill. So this is going to be doubly collectible. I imagine it'll sell somewhere in the $25 range because of that. When my arrangement is to take anything vintage or antique or collectible out of the house, I always make a point to look through the kitchen because people forget that they have the old blender like that Osterizer, or the old blocky McCoy planter sitting in the back of the cupboard. This is a neat old embossed Golden West coffee vacuum pack bottle from the 1930s. This jar would have had a paper label with a really cute gal in a cowgirl outfit. And if that was on there, it'd be worth even more. Bowls here are Bauer Pottery. We have a nice Royal Winton, I think, chintz. It looks like Royal Winton, and yes, it is. It's summertime, which is just about their most popular pattern, so that's nice. Instead of a $5 cup and saucer, it's about a $15 or $20 cup and saucer. And this is the old Taylor Smith Taylor TST mark from the 1930s. These blue and white Pyrex plain cups, we were laughing. We all grew up with those in the military. And here we go into the hutch. That's Satsuma, this Japanese tea set with the bamboo. It's a cute one. We see this set quite a bit. I think it was popular in the 1950s. And this was not made for export because it doesn't have any American writing on it at all. And let's see. Well, we've got a Hummel or two. And these are some older Hummels. And ooh, there we go. That's neat. The walrus tusk. And that has been made into a Billiken and has a little Alaskan gold nugget. So there's something cool. We'll definitely take that. These sell all over the country. They sell well in the Northwest. I've sold them in Florida. Billiken is a very popular good luck mark. Little Beefeater is cute. I don't usually do Dolls of the World, but he's in his little house. And then back here, oh, a very cute old mohair stuffed bear. Yes, that's very sweet. A little piece of Weller pottery behind that. So they've got some cute things in here. This will be nice to have for shows. I like coming into a house and taking things that are essentially from an estate to a show with me because you end up with a lot of variety that way. It's a little of this and a little of that, and I find that that does well at shows. So I'll have some applied flowers from England, and I'll have some blown glass grapes, try saying that fast, from Murano. This is a very cute little piece. It's marked in French, but that is actually a Dresden cross swords mark. So this is a Dresden piece and very nicely painted. And that is something a little better quality. It'll be nice to take that with me to my next event. And there's a few more here, so we'll have to check them over for condition. She said she knew one of them had been damaged, but hopefully the rest are all in good shape. Oh, this one is not. Well, shoot. All right, well, we'll take whichever ones are. And I see the big Hummel umbrella girl and boy. Those are still money, folks, even these days. Even though Hummels have come down, the big umbrella girl and boy were always expensive, and they still are. And the one where they're praying to the Madonna up in the on the post there is cute too. And that's just some basic Wedgwood Jasperware, but yeah, that's good to see the umbrella boy and girl. Those are good collectibles. And then let's see what we've got here. This is another Zulu piece and made of wool from about 1980, but it's nice because it's got the big pots on it, so that'll be a nice visual. A lot of people who do this sort of tribal decoration, like big textiles, is backing, and it gives some color and adds some dimension to the display, so I think that'll be neat. And then let's see what this is. Ah, okay, this is a Martin ukulele, and Martin is a good brand. You can still go and tour the Martin factory in Pennsylvania and watch them make guitars, but they're known for all sorts of string instruments. I've had good Martin banjos. This one appears to be relatively recent. It's got a nice case, though. It is not cracked at the neck. We're looking to make sure that there aren't any warps or bending. It's just got one little chip on the back there at the head. That's not a big deal. And the seams are all good, so there's no splits, because that's all very important in how a musical instrument plays. You don't have to know how to play, you just have to know what to look for to be able to buy musical instruments. The people who play will tell you everything about that part. Now here's an area that a lot of dealers would be afraid to get into, but I like the opportunity to explore new areas, and I like African art. I've worked around it a few times in my career. I was involved with an antique mall in Pioneer Square in Seattle that carried it, and so these pieces are Swazi, Zulu, South African. The painting is really neat. It looks a lot like Eustace Ziegler, who was a well-known painter in the area where this house sits. But I believe this is a protege, because the signature is not Ziegler's, but it's got that ethereal quality with the clouds and the mountains. Yes, okay, yeah, L. Taylor, yeah, I believe this is a protege of Ziegler's. Still very nicely done. I still imagine that this could be a few $100s, because a Eustace Ziegler would be $1,000 in this size, I would think, by now. And let's see, it's done on canvas. That's nice. Oh, and look there. There's a picture of Eustace Ziegler. So, yep, see, this is someone who was definitely influenced by this other artist. And so, hopefully, they will have put enough of that love into this that someone will like it too, and I think they will. I've done really well with Northwest mountain paintings lately. All right, let's see. Well, these are cute little cards with the old Curiosity Shop, so we'll try to sell those. And then a couple of folders from the 60s, it looks like. Native Life in South Africa and Art of Africa. These are really good guides for people who are trying to collect stuff, because so much of this was done in the tourist era, like all of this beadwork here. All of these are tourist era pieces. And these are all going to be, again, South African, Zulu, and Swazi. Here's another beaded pipe. And you know, these things sell. They sell to tourists, and they sell in antique and vintage stores. I'm expecting to get about 35 each on these pipes, because there's a lot of work that went into this. Let's see what else we have here that I can bring out to show you. Little spring figure. Again, this is South African. Okay, now these are really cool. These are cigarette holders, and look how elegant the top one is with the rhinestones. Very fancy. The bottom one's pretty good too. I have a lot of call for these. A lot of theater companies use these as props, because nowadays we don't smoke on stage, but they need something to make sure people know that that's what the character is doing. So a cigarette holder is a big long thing that suddenly gives it lots of stage presence. And they are very pretty. Now, down the hall here, we have a very cool drum table. It will be sold like that. I'll put it out in Seattle at Epic Antique. They've done pretty well. I've sold a couple of drum tables there already with the natural skins. And then this piece of art is painted along a river in South Africa, showing a village scene. We'll have to see. Some of the artists from that part of the world are starting to be known. Most, not so much, but a lot of it is sold strictly for decorative value. The masks are really nicely done. They're from the 60s. And then this is a listed artist.
So while I'm thinking of it, please comment in the space below here and also hit the thumbs up button to like this video. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button below. Also hit the bell below to be notified of new videos coming every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And thank you so much for following along. Let's go back to this video.
All right, I'm going to take this kitchen queen for them, because even though it's been redone in contact paper, it is cute. It will make a nice kitchen display. I've got a great place to put it, and let's see what's on here that we can take for them as well. A music box. Well, we know who wouldn't like this. Can we do this one-handed? Come on. There we go. When crockery bowls from the 1920s and 30s became really popular to collect, one enterprising Midwestern company that was still in business decided to make more, and that is the Clay City Pottery. So we see a lot of these blue bowls that don't seem to have a lot of wear because they come from the 1980s and 90s. This is a neat coffee grinder. I believe this is Dutch. The European ones look a little different. And oh good, jadeite. Always good to get jadeite. Those will sell. Absolutely. And these are nice with their uranium glass stems. They'll glow. I like the cute little aluminum canister set, and then these black and white, those will sell too. So there's some good stuff on this. This is going to make a nice display with the other kitchen stuff that I've already got. That'll go to Florida. That is one of the plaques that was sent out for the moon landing, and it went to a lot of people who were dignitaries or worked in the civil service at that time. And we've got some spice tins. These are older ones here. Reliance is long gone. Crescent lasted a little longer. And oh, yep, one of the classic Hamilton Beach ice cream scoops. These are collectible in their own right. They came in different colors on the end, and people do collect by the color. There's Crescent. That is another Seattle area spice company, and their tins are collectible. And then the cat there is by Elizabeth Arden, but it's a neat box. There's the old Crescent logo you can see on that one. And Fairmont ginger. Little tea strainer. So we're just looking for any sort of cute things that we think will have value for these folks. I told them I would try to take anything that I thought had value. I cannot take the stove, though. It's just too heavy and it's attached to the house, but lots of stuff around it will sell. The wicker bottle is good. The big brass candlestick pillar holder from the 70s is good. The washstand is good. The little cast iron pieces are very good. This is a nice arcade 1914 patent, I believe. Arcade was known largely for making cast iron toys, but kitchenware was their other big thing, and this is a lemon squeezer from around that time. You put it in, and then you just squeeze it into that porcelain. You can take the porcelain out to clean it. There's glove stretchers, so that when your gloves got wet or were washed, they would stretch out to be able to be worn. And there's a couple of neat old cast iron waffle makers. Those always seem to sell well now. So I'm very excited to see that. And the Kingfisher statue is really nice. That's very pretty, and I see a good signature on the bottom. And some of these, even though they're from the 1980s and 90s, this one says 1988, we're going to look up that signature because some of these signatures are pretty good. And some of these are becoming rather collectible, so it might be $100 for that piece. Let's see, there's an old glass float, a neat microphone, which I think they're going to keep. Unfortunately, I always like these astatic mics, but I don't think I get to take that one. There's a town near here called Gorst, and this family are related to the Gorsts who were pioneers, and they had a little store, and in the store, as often was the case, was the post office, and there's the box for it. I get to sell that. I'm so excited. I've always wanted to sell one of those, so when they get it out, I'm taking it to sell. In the meantime, let's go back to what we can pack today. There's Mickey Mouse ears, Raggedy Ann and Andy, little Pyrex gooseberry, And, well, we'll just go through this whole pile because there's a few kind of fun things. These are interesting. This is for doing jewelry and up-close work with magnifying. And I have not seen ones that look quite like this. This looks like something right out of the 1950s, and it should go to somebody who likes steampunk because they love taking these things and reimagining them as something else. Let's see what's in here. Come on. Come on, I'm gonna get you out. Hang on, folks, sorry. Need two hands sometimes. Oh, and there we go, that was worth it because, look, they're all little Valentines, a whole box full that were never used. Remember how the teacher would always say, if you're gonna bring Valentines, you have to bring for everyone, so you take the ones that you didn't like and give them to the people that you didn't like as much. Valentines were a strange class-dividing experience, as I recall. But these are really cute. Look like they're right out of about 1950, and it looks like a whole box that have never been opened. Bubbling with joy. Yes, we get to do that a lot in this business as we find new cool stuff. Oh, and there's that microphone again. All right, we're going to see what else is in this pile here. I think the keychain is an antelope skin from South Africa. And let's see what else. Little lead soldier there. The cat is Shawnee, and you don't see the bright chartreuse so much in this one. It's not the Puss in Boots, it's a different kitty cat. They made the cookie jars that look like this as well, but this color combination's a little harder to find. Well, here's something from a 1950s or 60s childhood, and that's these felt pennants, and the old felt ones are definitely desirable, and these are from Alaska and the Yukon when people didn't go there, so they're going to be worth 10 to 15 a piece easily. And then this is Turkey Trot. This is another well-illustrated book that is going to be a collectible for children's book people and for Black Americana collectors, because Mr. Trot gets separated from his family and goes on all sorts of adventures. But of course, being of the era it's from, which looks to be about 1950, well, there are definitely some stereotypes to this book. I haven't seen this one before, but they are collectible in their own right for that reason. Anytime I see one of these low planters, I always look at the bottom because, sure enough, a lot of these, that one's Bauer. A lot of these got left beside. Bauer hasn't been in business since 1962, so it's been sitting here ever since. And you've got a bunch of dollies. And more dollies. It looks like there's some vinyl ones. I don't see anyone who looks really amazing, but ooh, the smell is amazing. Boy, you know, people, some things need to breathe, and it isn't always the best thing to store in plastic. Don't just assume that plastic keeps everything great, because some things, it's not a good idea. Those should not have been in plastic. This one thankfully wasn't, and she doesn't smell bad. She's Miss Revlon from 1958. She's got her original stocking and shoes, and we'll definitely be able to sell her. And then this is just really fun. These stretch screen print fabrics from the 70s. That one should sell for about 40 to 45 bucks, I would guess. And this is neat. This is a little enameling kiln, and even though it's not collectible per se, it's useful. I find people in my sphere that want those sorts of things, so I'm definitely selling that for them. And then these little guys here are Wade figurines. The Christmas tree is from a harder to find series. These are not all just the ones that you found in the tea bags. This guy's a netski made out of vegetable net to look like ivory, but he's not ivory, so we can sell him. And then the teeniest little July girl. And a couple of Christmas bells in varying condition. This very cute guy here, his tongue comes out because he is a tape measure and a pincushion, but his eyes are gone, unfortunately. There is a little marble bird bath like the one I just sold from the gal in Kentucky that was in the set of the Thornbirds back in the 70s. Pretty enameled on black amethyst vase, and then back here is a piece of Cornish ware, this blue and white. It says Staffordshire chef ware, but Cornish ware is the general name for that type of thing. There's a nice tooled leather revolver and a couple more of those folding candlestick holders that can also be put on the wall. So I'll be taking all of this. And look at this cool scooter out of the 50s. This is a Schwinn, and this thing needs to have the front air pumped up, but I'll tell you, if it holds, this is just fantastic because it's got the white wall tires, and you know, it's scraped, it's been used, but it's still all there. And let's see what's back here. We've got more games. Ooh, a cute little German child sewing machine. Yes, we'll definitely sell that. That's neat. And it looks like some doll cases as well. Those sewing machines go for about 50 bucks or more, so that's a good thing to find. And we'll definitely take this. It's baseball season, it's older, and Bill Glenn is someone who some older players and yesterday's children, I'll say, will probably recognize. Another sewing machine here. This is a 50s or 60s era one from England. And I see more doll furniture. Look at this cute little wardrobe chest for a doll. Aw, that's very sweet with all the little stickers. Look like 1950s, I'd say. Yes, that's very cute. I'm sure someone will like to have that for their doll. Okay, well, I mentioned that we had some flatware and that I have a guy who is putting aside sterling flatware for his granddaughter's hope chest. This is a nice pattern. This should sell pretty well. I think he'll like it. All right, now we're going to the Outbuildings because I said I would look everywhere, and there is some cool stuff in the Outbuildings that has age. This cutout seagull, yeah, I could probably find a home for that. And over here, we'll look at the old tools, old baskets. The basket itself is kind of neat. I think that might sell. The piece of the weather vane would probably sell. That old rule will go, and this pulley, yeah, there's a few things in here. I know it's deceiving, but I've actually been here all day long pulling and packing, so I am looking at rafters and thinking, what am I willing to climb up and do at this point? I'd love to take this old cart, but it has a bad wheel, unfortunately. People are making coffee tables and other things out of them. Some of these oilers, some of those sprinkler heads would sell. And this is for a long rifle, so if that's intact, we'll take that. Old clothes wringer, those seem to sell too, for about $40 actually. Sometimes more if it's the right one or in good condition. The old gas can might sell. So, yep, I'm going to be throwing a lot of dirty, rusty things in the bottom of a box and taking them to storage. But I have shows in the mountains of Washington where they buy all this old farm stuff. Bullet clips like this will sell. Holsters will sell. So I definitely want to take a careful look. This is a big old magnifying lens. Wow, that's huge. Yes, we'll take that too. That's interesting. And what are these for? Oh, yes, to lead poor little piggies by the nose. Yeah, I think we'll leave those behind. They're a little sadistic. Be sure the monkey is with you to fix your tire. Oh, and this is cute. Oh, this will be great. Yes, this is Norma's desk from the 1930s. And this part would wind, and so you would see various flags of the United States, you'd see birds, you'd see the alphabet, and you'd just wind through and do your lessons. So we'll definitely take that. And let's see what else might be of value in here. Well, we've got an old lantern. Looks like it's been spray painted a little, and it looks like it's got a crack in the lens, so I'm going to leave that behind. Don't need any more projects. The old tie rubbing looks a little stained. Here's a nice grinder, though. Somebody would buy that. That's for shelling, I believe. Walnuts, I think. A couple more of those magnifying lenses. And this is a Theodolite, I believe, a surveyor's tool, but it doesn't look like it's all there. Got some more of the lanterns, though. We'll take anything that's in good shape. And then little bottles of marbles. Yeah, we'll consolidate that all into one thing and take those with us as well. And no, the kayaks are not for sale, but all these little tags are, and I'm going to take every one I can get off. Okay, so we've got a little toy tractor, more marbles in a local dairy bottle. We'll take both of those. We'll check out that bank, see if it's got its trap. Some other toys. Ooh, this is good. This is early post-Prohibition Olympia Beer based on their pre-Prohibition ones. I can tell by the weight that it's not pre-Prohibition, but it's early enough. This is going to be 1940s, and It's probably going to be worth, oh gosh, somewhere in the 50 to 75 range, being the age that it is. So that's a nice find, especially because it's out here and yet it isn't all rusted. It looks like it's just dirt. So that's great. It's nice to find some things that'll make some money for them. All these little brass tags and machine tags and car emblems, I'm taking every one of those. Those always sell. Cute little Valentine there. And we've got an old GE logo from probably a refrigerator. We can take that as well. The old church keys will go. And what else do we have here? It looks like just a lot of general stuff. I will just pick through all of these little things. The Planet Junior, that was an old plow, but the wrench is proprietary to it and the color is good. Someone will think that torpedo station thing is cool, even though it's just a piece of plastic. So, lots of little stuff. No amazing things in this garage yet, but a few good things, and I think that, yeah, the Flux will probably leave. Oh, ice skates. Those could sell. That's a newer thing, that balancing paper weight airplane thing. I'm tempted by this piece of furniture. If it wasn't missing that drawer, I would definitely take it, because stainless is in, but it's a little rough. And this looks like it's pretty stripped. Someone already came and got tools and car parts, so let's see if there's anything else that I can ferret out from here for them and get some money for them and for me. A little enamelware. The old copper kettle is okay. That's old enough. We'll probably take that. And propellers are good, oilers are good, Oregon license plates, hey, we'll take those. Yes, absolutely. And we've got the old mug from Bonanza up there. Anything else? Yep, we'll look for any sort of old ammunition packaging. And even maybe the smoker from the apiary. I wonder if this little TV stand could be given a better top. You know, we're really down to the last room. Oh, and the copper we'll take and we will recycle, because those are big old chunks of copper. So they're going to be worth something. More old gas cans. So it's that kind of farm junk, but there are people who buy all of this sort of thing, so don't overlook it. Well, here I went and did it again. I have a rental truck. It's full of stuff. How did I get myself into this? But I think there's some really fun things here. I think the silver's going to be worth a few $1,000s. And I took an air raid siren off the wall. That'll be worth $150. So there's some fun things that'll be good for my next show. Hopefully good for the client and for me. In the meantime, check me out on the social media you see here. Click the bell to be notified of future videos. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.